started talking about global payments, and you know, I think it's kind of interesting. One of the things my father said to me a bunch of years ago is he said, Charlie, if you live long enough, you'll get to see everything more than once. Some movies you get to see 3 or 4 times. And I distinctly remember, I don't know, 16 or 17 years ago, giving a speech when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services right down the street from here about the future of healthcare in the 1990s. And at that point in time I said, well, I think we're going to move toward global budgets. I think we're going to move away from fee-for-service. I think we're going to see integrated care delivery organizations. That's what I think they were called IDNs back then instead of ACOs. We were going to see a lot of consolidation around the payer side, and we were basically going to move to a system that paid for quality and paid for value and didn't pay for volume. That didn't happen. A whole bunch of other things happened along the way, and I think a lot of it was a tremendous amount of pushback from all over the place, from the employer community, from the physician community, from patients and from others, about a general lack of concern and in many cases anger about this idea of being directed to where they had to access care. And this whole idea that, you know, your physician would do better financially if they withheld care from you than they would if they provided care to you. And having been sort of burned by that drill some almost 20 years ago, I found it kind of interesting when everybody started to have the same conversation again about fee-for-service just rewards volume. It just, the way the system is set up, it rewards technology, it doesn't support primary care, all of which I believe and agree with, and which is why I was so interested in seeing the system move in a different direction many, many years ago. And I guess one of the things that I conclude from all this, to use another cliche, is sometimes what goes around comes around. And I think maybe the fact that healthcare costs have continued to increase at a rate that's about 2% greater than the growth in GDP, that's kind of for the past 30 or 40 years, that's kind of been the standard operating procedure in healthcare, which is it grows about 2%, real terms faster than everything else, the gross national product. And maybe it's time where people will start thinking about moving in a significantly different direction.